Order, order. Harriett Baldwin to move the motion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pritchard, and it's a great honour to serve under your chairmanship this afternoon. And I'm also absolutely delighted that my honourable friend, the member for Daventry, is going to be responding on behalf of the government to this debate. Can I start, Mr. Pritchard, by just declaring my interest, which is that I am an unpaid vice president of the Cotswold Line promotion group, which is a fantastic voluntary organisation that has worked relentlessly for decades to improve the North Cotswold Line. And I'm very grateful that I've secured this debate so early on in this Parliament and in time for the 2020 budget, because we have a Worcestershire Chancellor and he truly understands the value of infrastructure improvements as far as unleashing our country's potential and increasing its productivity. And I believe, Mr. Pritchard, that investing in the North Cotswold Line will be one of the easiest and most convincing cases that he will see. The North Cotswold Line, for those who haven't had the pleasure of travelling along it, runs from Oxford to Hereford, and it crosses many constituencies. Whitney, where the honourable member has recently and conveniently been appointed Parliamentary Private Secretary to the Transport Secretary. It runs through the Cotswolds, where my honourable friend, I believe, will seek to catch your eye later in the debate, Mr. Pritchard. Through Mid-Worcestershire, where sadly my honourable friend who represents that constituency would have to sit here silently as he currently serves in the Whip's office. Worcester, where my honourable friend is Minister for Northern Ireland. My own constituency of West Worcestershire, and then on to North Herefordshire, where my honourable friend is a keen supporter, and then Hereford and South Herefordshire, where my honourable friend is Financial Secretary to the Treasury. So the North Cotswold Line plan is to improve services also to Kidderminster, where my honourable friend from the Wyre Forest, I see, is here in the debate. And I know that it will have knock-on benefits to colleagues as well in the Oxford area. And all of these colleagues, Mr. Pritchard, are supporting this debate, even if they're not all speaking in it. I also wanted to hold this debate now because it coincides with the arrival in the Department of Transport of the strategic outline business case for the North Cotswold Line, and it's written by the North Cotswold Line Task Force. And can I put on record my thanks to Lord Faulkner of Worcester for chairing the task force, and to thank all of the task force members, Worcestershire County Council, Oxfordshire County Council, Gloucestershire County Council, Warwickshire County Council, Herefordshire Council, the Worcestershire Local Enterprise Partnership, and the G1st, Marches, Oxfordshire, Coventry and Warwickshire Local Enterprise Partnerships, as well as the West Midlands Rail Executive and the Cotswold Line Promotion Group. And they have all done excellent work since the task force was set up 2 years ago. The history of this 86-mile stretch of line, but I will give way to my honourable friend.
Sorry, just first of all, congratulate my honourable friend on getting securing this date. She read out a list of a number of people supporting this, but actually I noticed that the Greater Birmingham and Solihull Local Enterprise Partnership wasn't involved. Is she as surprised as I am not to see them there, given the fact that they do represent those North Worcestershire constituencies, including Droitwich, where Droitwich Spa and obviously Kidderminster goes through, where actually this will make a difference to the southern part of the Greater Birmingham and Solihull LEP. And it's a bit remiss of them not to be on that list.
Well, the honest answer is I don't know the background as to whether they were approached or whether my honourable friend will now be able to tell them about this exciting proposal, which does really benefit the Wyre Forest and allows services to Kidderminster. But the history, Mr. Pritchard, of this 86-mile line between Oxford and Hereford is one that represented sharp decline and now slow recovery. The lovely fully doubled line of the early part of the 20th century was reduced to mainly single track in the 1960s, 70s and 80s, perhaps not coincidentally a time when the whole of the railway network was in public hands. By the 1980s, there were only 2 trains a day between Paddington and Hereford. Thanks to the campaigning of my predecessor, the late Lord Spicer, and Sir Peter Luff, the former MP for Mid Worcestershire, and indeed many others, 2 sections of the track were redoubled between 2008 and 2011. And by 2015, a broad hourly service had been achieved. The partial redoubling has also brought some improvements to journey times, and as of the December timetable changes, 1 train a day in each direction is able to complete the London to Worcester journey in under 2 hours. Now, after looking at a range of options, the North Cotswold Line Task Force has come up with unanimous backing for what they call Option 5, a redoubling of 4 miles of track from Wolvercote Junction, Oxford to Hanborough Station, and the redoubling of 5 miles of track from Evesham to Pershore. In addition, Option 5 includes second platforms at Pershore and at Hanborough. The combination of these elements in Option 5 would allow 2 trains an hour from Worcester to London, additional services beyond Worcester to Malvern, Hereford and Kidderminster, a regular Worcester to London service in less than 2 hours, and faster services from Malvern and Herefordshire to London, as well as improved performance and reliability. I will give way.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pritchard. I'm very grateful to the Honourable Lady. She's making an excellent speech. Does she also agree that those improvements on the North Cotswold Line would also unlock then additional opportunities around the nearby area? So, for example, it would be possible to link that line through to the Cowley branch line. Also, having that additional capacity at Hanborough would mean that it might be possible, for example, to have that station operating almost as a parkway, which would then relieve some of the pressure on Oxford Station. So actually it would be a win-win, not just along the route, but in fact in many other nearby areas as well.
Well, can I thank the Honourable Lady for her support, and also, through her, thank Oxfordshire County Council for the support that they've given to this task force. And I do believe that the Option 5 does allow a significant improvement in terms of the services around the Oxford area. And so I think that I'll be coming on in my speech to some of the environmental benefits from this scheme, and she may well want to call a similar debate on the proposals that she's making at some point in the future, because I don't know the details of them. But I do know, Mr. Pritchard, that the benefit of the benefits of this scheme to the costs of this scheme are well over 4 to 1. I repeat that, 4 to 1. And that's with a cost estimate of just under £200 million for the whole Option 5 scheme. And that includes an optimism bias in terms of those cost estimates. And the 5 counties that are supporting the task force, including Oxfordshire, are home to over 2.5 million people. And their economic gross value added is in fact greater than the West Midlands Combined Authority and the Greater Manchester Combined Authority. And they are also only asking for half the budget from the Department for Transport. As I mentioned, there are clear environmental benefits. Train travel will, as train travel increases, it will take cars off the road. Currently, my constituents in West Worcestershire travel miles along the congested motorway network just to get to Warwick Parkway and Birmingham International stations so that they can use the Chiltern Line and the West Coast Main Line. Now, the strategic outline business case goes into detail about the benefits to the road system, estimates that 5 million miles of highway driving would be avoided. Indeed, the delivery of the soon-to-be opened, and I invite my honourable friend, the member for Daventry, to come and officiate at that opening of the Worcestershire Parkway Station, which is due to happen any day, will in fact strengthen the case for more travellers across South Worcestershire to use the North Cotswold Line. There will also be huge tourism benefits. As the line goes through some of the loveliest countryside in the world, it passes by the cathedral city of Oxford, It goes on to the cathedral city of Worcester and on to the cathedral city of Hereford. It goes through the heart of the beautiful Cotswolds. It goes near Blenheim Palace and, of course, through the glorious Malvern Hills. Also, there will be huge housing benefits. It will ease the affordability of housing for those working in Oxford by giving them an opportunity to commute by rail from less expensive areas. And in short, it will unleash the potential from the Midlands engine and link it to the Oxford-Cambridge Arc corridor, linking all more reliably, more frequently and faster to London, to the Crossrail network and to Heathrow. And my only ask for the Minister today is as follows: to agree to pay for half the developed stage costs and allow the proposed scheme into the industry's rail network enhancements pipeline. Because with this funding, an outlined business case and a structural survey can be prepared for 2022. This means that a commitment from his department of only £1.5 million of the £3 million cost will enable this progress, and the task force members will pay the other half. So I'm sure that my honourable friend, the Minister, can see today how compelling option 5 is in terms of value for money, in terms of the environmental benefit, and in terms of the country's productivity. The proposals are sensible, they're modest but impactful, and they're achievable in the tangible future. So when he makes his case to the Chancellor, he will be making it to a friendly Worcestershire colleague, and he will know just how many other colleagues he will be pleasing by, by approving us to make further progress on this wonderful train line.